Hey there, Spellhammer here, and welcome back to my little plot of grass. And in the last episode, we had upgraded some equipment by selling our Mahindra side-by-side, which is definitely not ideal, but I think we're going to be able to make some more progress here. And that did give us a little bit of a nest egg to work with, so we have about $10,000 at the moment. We're also done using this, but I probably will keep it for now, just in case we need to return our leased mower. We're using one of the two-wheel tractor mowers at the moment, which is quite a bit wider than the scythe and a little bit faster, I think. Except for uphill, it's very, very slow. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but it's having some trouble going uphill. So we'll have to keep that in mind because this grass field is definitely not very even. So we're going to go ahead and continue filling up our truck here. I did a little bit of mowing off camera after the last episode just to see if this mower was going to work out, and it looks like it's going to work good. We have 14% of our capacity used up. I'd like to get it to 100%, make a run to the animal feed plant. I think that's what it's called. Let me make sure. The place that we're selling grass at is called... Let me find the prices. There we go. The animal dealer, I guess. I would presume they're using it for animal feed, so that's why I keep calling it that. But let's go ahead and fire up this mower here. It really is interesting, the animations with the steering and the kind of gear shifting and things like that. Somebody put a lot of effort into this, which I really appreciate because I love the idea of these little two-wheel tractors. So as you can see, this does mow quite wide, which is good. It's going to save us a lot of effort. Going uphill is definitely a challenge, but we'll just kind of deal with that. But I'm thinking we'll go ahead and mow this entire, maybe half this field, this entire half section of the field, and then see how much grass we end up with from that. I'd like to get at least the mowing done. I'd like to get the truck filled, and then maybe start looking into some alternative to the shovel method that we're currently using, because it's not the slowest in the world, but it's definitely not something I want to keep doing forever by any means. As you can see, that took a long time to get up that field. So when we were going uphill, this tractor is really struggling, which means even though it technically can go faster than the other mower I was looking at, I'm not sure that it's actually mowing faster when you factor in the fact of how slow it goes on any sort of an incline. So we're learning as we go here. We can always return this and try something different. I don't know if I can afford like a tractor with a mower implement at this point. I may be able to, but I think that would deplete my funds quite a bit. We're also going to probably run out of sun in this particular day. I do have it set to 1 day months, so things will progress pretty quickly. And I do have the economic difficulty on easy just because I'm fairly new to this game, but I noticed when playing while not recording that the economic difficulty being much harder than that made it nearly impossible to actually gain any money from most of the things I was doing. So that's definitely going to speed things up a little bit. Let's see if I can do a wider path here. Yeah, it can definitely go a little wider than I expect, so I'll try to make use of that and hopefully speed up this mowing here. And in classic fashion, I figured out a really fast way to do this just as I'm finishing up this mowing section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip around, turn off the PTO for the mower, and just zoom back up the hill. When I get up here, I can kick it back on and flip back around. It's kind of fun the way this thing whips around. It reminds me of one of those like tricycles that are made to do the drifting, which is really cool. So as slow as it is uphill, I did find that it's faster to just mow downhill. And we are losing our light here, but I would love to get this truck loaded up before it gets completely dark. It's about 1900 at the moment. We do have a flashlight and we can turn on the lights of the truck, which will help, but we're almost wrapped with the mowing I wanted to do for today. So let's go ahead and get this finished and get this load of grass off to the animal dealer and see how much money we can make from this amount of work. And then I think our next step is going to be some kind of production, maybe a greenhouse because they're pretty cheap, or maybe an animal, maybe some chickens, because the chicken pallets I can actually lift by hand, whereas the pallets from greenhouses I cannot, and I do not have the money for any kind of a forklift or telehandler or anything like that. So let's park this guy. Better turn him off too. And then let's point our truck over where we're working and turn on our lights. I think this thing has pretty bright lights, so that should help us a lot. It looks like it has 2 levels of headlights. So we'll just leave that going, and then we'll grab our shovel, and we'll get what we can done before nightfall. It's going to be close, but I think we'll be able to get quite a bit. Now, I did find I have to be kind of careful with this shovel because it will fill up to a point to where I cannot lift it anymore. I do have super strength installed just in case that happens so that I can fix it. But if I drop it like that and then go to lift it, sometimes I have too much grass in there. So I have to stop at about 500 liters or so. And as you can see, I need to re-grip it occasionally. I also want to make sure that I'm not dumping my grass all over the ground. So there's 500 liters. Let's go ahead and dump that in the truck. And the more you tilt it, the faster the grass comes out. So that's definitely handy. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop up as much as I can from this field. Hopefully the sun won't go completely down on me, though. It's getting dark. I do have a flashlight, which is nice. Forgot about that. It's getting dark, and this does have a pretty wide pickup area, which is nice, but I would definitely like to upgrade out of this shovel eventually because it just feels like a lot of work doing the shovel-based pickup of all this grass. And can you imagine in real life actually doing this amount of pickup with a shovel? Because obviously you can't fit 500 liters of material in a shovel. It would be backbreaking work. And I would not want to continue doing that for very long, especially if I was making any kind of money doing it. So with that in mind, that's probably our next upgrade, is some way to pick up this grass. Now, that being said, we could get some kind of tractor with a front loader, and then that would allow us to handle pallets, which would then allow us to do greenhouses, which is interesting. That may end up being the route we go, but I think we need a little bit more money before we can lease all the things we need to do that. And depending on how role-play-ish I want to be with the series, the bank's honestly not going to loan me money for equipment when I'm not making any money. So I need to be making some money first before I can lease more equipment, because right now my debt to income ratio is not great. I'm basically surviving off of having sold that Mahindra, which thankfully I had owned outright, but now everything else is pretty much leased. So I'm in a bit of a tough spot. But I'm going to go ahead and get this grass loaded up. I think we'll be able to fit everything I just mowed. And then even if it's not a full load, we'll just go ahead and take it off and see how much money we get. So I did end up having to call it a night because it just got too dark to see, even with my headlights and my flashlight. So here I am. This is the next day, and I'm still scooping up grass with my shovel. And I'm thinking more and more how nice it would be to have something with a bucket. Additionally, I've noticed that when I went to sleep and woke up, the grass had started growing again, so it's actually kind of hard to see the grass that I need to scoop up. But that's okay. We're getting plenty, and I think our truck is close to 50% full now. I'm going to check after this shovel load goes in. Luckily, this shovel can hold a very unrealistic amount of material, so that's definitely helpful. Let's take a look here. We're actually 61%, so a few more loads and we should be good to go. And then hopefully we'll be making some pretty serious money from this grass. And the nice thing is, I do believe our other field is grass as well, and it should be ready to harvest soon. It was it was just dirt when I started, but I think we should have a little bit of grass coming up over there now. So let's go and see. Boy, that does get heavy, doesn't it? And then if it gets too heavy, I have to turn on super strength and pick it up, which I don't like using super strength, but it is nice for cases like this where the shovel really should have a fill limit of some kind, and it doesn't, so it kind of gets me in trouble. But with super strength, we can get out of that trouble. It can also save us if we end up flipping a piece of equipment or something later. But I'm going to try not to use it, if at all possible, and just be mindful of how much I'm putting in the shovel and make sure I don't go ramping and flipping any pieces of equipment in a way that I shouldn't. So I'm not sure how many more shovelfuls this is going to need, but I'm going to go ahead and get this truck completely full, and then we'll head off to the animal dealer and get this grass sold and see what kind of shape we're in. Okay, we're about 98% full, so one more shovel load is going to do it. Let's go ahead and pick up maybe 500 liters or so, and then we'll take this off to the animal dealer. Here we go. There's really a lot of grass here. And the nice thing is I don't have to fertilize it. I don't have to till it or plow it or really do anything to maintain it. It just kind of grows on its own. So it looks like we filled that up. Let's go ahead. Let's put our shovel over here by our tent, and then we'll head off to the animal dealer. So here's the animal dealer. We're just coming up over the hill, and we have 12,000 liters in here. So that should be quite a bit over $1,000. This truck is not struggling with acceleration or power, but the steering is a little bit squirrely with this full bed of grass. So let's go ahead and run this over here and see how much we get. And we're going to unload. Hopefully they never stop buying grass. Hopefully they just always want grass. So here it goes. Money's going up pretty quickly. Hopefully we get like maybe $2,000. $1,600 a load. That's not too bad. So really we need to do about 2 loads a day. Right now our limiting factor is scooping up the grass. I feel like that just takes so long. This truck also just accepts a lot of grass. So I think a forage wagon would probably be a good upgrade for us. then we really wouldn't need the truck anymore. But we do need a tractor. So the thing is, I'm not sure if this truck can pull a forage wagon. I know it can't run it because the PTO just isn't there. But I'm kind of curious about being able to just pull the forage wagon, because it'd be nice to just be able to drive around the field and have all that grass scooped up. We could also bale it and then get an auto-loading bale trailer, but I'm not sure exactly if that's the route I want to go here. Balers are kind of expensive. And then, of course, I don't have a tractor. So I'm a farmer without a tractor right now, which is kind of problematic. So I need to do some thinking about exactly what I want to do as far as equipment goes. Now that we have a way to make some income, I definitely need to figure that out. I am going to stop by the store, I think, and take a look at what's available as far as equipment that could help me load grass faster, because I do think that the mowing is pretty fast now. The transporting is pretty fast, but we need a way to get this truck loaded up faster, or an alternate carry method like a forage wagon that can actually load the grass itself. And you can see here that the grass in the other field is actually coming up. So I think by the time we finish harvesting this field and selling the grass, I think this one will be up and ready to go. So we have a nice kind of back and forth going. I'm going to go ahead and check the store, and we're going to see. So I'm pretty new to this, and I'm not sure exactly what the best option here is, but I think telehandlers are going to be too expensive. Yeah, they start at like $56,000, which the lease on that would be per work day, per work. I'm not sure how that's charged as far as per work hour and per work day. I don't know if it's like both on top of each other, but we won't be putting a lot of hours on it. So that's pretty expensive. We do have wheel loaders are going to be too expensive. This is not too bad, $30,000. I think the lease on that would be closer to what we are looking for. I don't like the way these drive though, because they're articulated in the middle. I really don't like just the way they handle. But this one is even cheaper. Let's look at skid steers, because I do prefer a skid steer, I think, over some of the other options. And there is a New Holland for $35,000. So that with a bucket, we would be, right now, we would be a little bit over where I'd like to be as far as leasing costs, but we could afford it for a little while, and we should increase our throughput. Yeah, I'm going to lease everything just because we don't have the cash right now. I know that puts us in a bit of a hole, but it will be okay, I think, due to the fact that we're going to be putting a lot more grass through now. So let's go ahead and lease this. And then, just out of curiosity, yeah, we don't have any better mower options at the moment. Obviously, this one would be nice, but we can't afford it. We could do, let's see if there's anything on sale. No, we need to keep an eye out for a tractor on sale, but you cannot lease things that are on sale, so we need to make some money too. The other thing we need to lease is a trailer, and I know there's a trailer here that we can load our skid steer up onto. So let's go ahead and get this. We're going to lease that. So we've just increased our leasing costs by about $1,000 a day, which means we really need to increase our income. But first things first, let's get this loaded up and back to the farm. So here's our new setup. I have loaded a little bit into the truck. We are at, let's see here, we're at 19% full, and that's just 2 bucket loads. So really, this is going to be a much more efficient situation. I do need to get this trailer out of the way for now. We're going to use it for some transport missions, but I need to get the income really cranking right now to cover our newly leased equipment. So we'll drop that right there, and then we'll continue loading up the rest of the grass in this field and sell it off. That'll give us about $2,000 of income today, which now that we have more leasing costs, we actually need quite a bit more than that. But I think with the grass plus the transportation contracts, I think that we'll be in pretty good shape. One tricky thing about this is just getting the level of the bucket right so that it doesn't leave behind too much grass, but also that we can move efficiently. But as you can see, it's just grabbing a massive amount of grass in a very short amount of time. And you can kind of tell it's full because it just kind of starts shoving grass around instead of picking it up, which is, it's nice to have a visual indicator. But also, looks like I just dumped a bunch of grass somewhere. Yeah, I dumped it all right there. So there's definitely a bit of a learning curve with using this instead of the shovel. The shovel is it's easier to load, but it is slower to unload. And it also just doesn't hold as much without having to kind of cheat and put on super strength. But with this, as you can see, if we're not careful, we're gonna dump the whole bucket without realizing it, which is not ideal. So I guess today's work looks like just loading up this truck a couple more times, doing a couple more loads of grass, and then seeing where we land financially. And then we can lease some forks for this pallet, or for this skid steer. And then we can start doing some transportation contracts, probably in the next episode. Okay, looks like we're full. So let's go ahead, and what I want to do is I'm going to drop this bucket right here. We'll pick that up later. And I want to hop on my flatbed over here because we're going to go sell this grass, and then we're going to go buy some forks. And then we can get into doing some transportation contracts next episode, which will be a welcome change from what we've been doing. Let's just park this guy here, hop into our truck. Yep, it's full up. Now I can hop on here. Hope we're not too heavy for the truck with the full load of grass, but we'll see. Go ahead and turn that off. Hop in here, fold that up, then we'll hop back and put our tension straps on so that doesn't roll around on us. Perfect. Now it's off to the animal dealer to see how much money we're going to make from this load. So if I remember correctly, we make about $1,000 per load of grass now. Let's go ahead and drop this off here. We have to move up. I wonder if we have to detach. Oh, there we go. I had the wrong vehicle or implement selected. So now we can go ahead and dump all of this. It does take its time, doesn't it? Yeah, $1,600. So that's pretty good. I think that will actually pay for the pallet forks that we need. So let's head off to the store and pick those up. All right, we have arrived at the store. So let's go ahead and unload our skid steer. We'll need to unstrap it as well. And then hop in there. Actually, I think I strapped it. Don't want all those tension belts on. There we go. Let's hop in there, and then we'll buy the forks and just put them on the skid steer so that we are ready to go. Those are going to be over here somewhere. Skid steer loader tools. I think I just have the one type of pallet fork, so we'll grab that. And it's only $800, so it actually only cost us half of what we just made from our grass, so we don't have to lease it. We can just outright buy it, which is nice. The more things we own, the better off we are, and that's something I'll definitely work towards eventually once we have more steady income. Perfect. We've got some pallet forks. I think I'm going to reverse onto the trailer this time. Hopefully that'll make everything fit, so I don't have to kind of raise those pallet forks up over that edge. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, turn that off. Let's lower that trailer down. Strap our skid steer on. And we are ready to do some transportation contracts, which we can take a look at really quickly here. Wrong menu. Right over here, I believe, are where they're at. Do we have any transportation? There are a lot of contracts. Okay, cool. So we have the bakery, $2,000. Feed and Grain South, $4,000. Grain Mill, Biomass Energy, that's a good one, $7,000. And Carpentry. So these will be pretty fun. I do like handling pallets in this game. So next episode, we're going to try at least a couple of these and see how it goes and see if that's, better income than what we're currently making from grass, and then see where things go from there. Hopefully we'll be able to get some greenhouses or something going, and then we can start distributing our own products. So I think that's where I'm going to call it a day. I'll see you next time.